Good evening, everyone. My name is Ingrid, and I'm here with my husband and also the artist, Matt. We thought we'd do a little virtual tour of Matt's exhibition for all of those who couldn't attend the opening, which happened last week. And we're going to do a little tour of the show. Sound good?
Sounds fun.
Sounds fun. All right, cheers.
Cheers. That's rum and coke.
Rum and Coke.
That's
Red
wine.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So Matt, the name of the show is called The Right to Be Different. Why did you choose that as the name for the show?
The right to be different. No, that's just the name of the show, and it's an overall thing that everybody has the right to, and that I guess reverberates these days with all the news and everything else, and it's just that style of art that I tend to make. It's a little different.
Well, I can say you are a little different, right? So that's it. So Matt does sculpture as well as airbrush. Many people aren't familiar, or they ask, what exactly is airbrush?
It ends up looking maybe a little like spray paint, but on a smaller scale, and that's really what it is. It's spray paint through a specialty gun that puts out enough air and enough paint, and you adjust those back and forth and play with those two things, and that's what you get. So you get a color in your airbrush, and you play with that all day. It's
like a layering
It's
technique.
a layering technique, and it's dusting, and it's putting on and sharp. It's usually used for very fine detail, and I abuse it. That's kind of my style so I come in somewhere in between an airbrush artist and a spray can artist, a graffiti artist. I come somewhere in between those two, just because of the way I use an airbrush.
Okay, cool. So yeah, these are quite the pieces. Mick Jagger, Willie Nelson, Keith Richards. Why did you choose these guys as your subject matter?
I don't know. I'm a musician in other circles, and I'm a Rolling Stones fan. I'm a Willie Nelson fan. I'm a musician's. I'm a fan of music, so almost any musician would have done. Mind you, I like these guys and their heads and their faces play to portraiture. So they've got interesting faces. They've got lots of interest in look at this mouth here. I
You
mean,
can't miss that's Mick Jagger.
no, that's even if you just had just
the mouth.
just the mouth, that everybody'd understand that it was Mick Jagger's mouth. So interesting faces. That's what drew me to these three in particular.
So I particularly love these pieces. They are so much fun. This truly is Matt. I'm sure back in school he spent his days in class doodling away, and I think it's finally paid off. Matt, what was your inspiration for this one?
That's it. You got it.
I got it.
I loved cartooning as a kid, and I still love cartooning. And to get cartooning right is a little bit of a skill. And find it just, it's one of my favorite pieces, yeah. There's lots of stuff, I mean, it's just a mess of stuff, so I love it.
And I like the brick background. It almost looks like they're almost like, in front of the wall, or are they actually on the wall?
Yeah, I didn't know how to finish this one, and then I put the brick to it, and it just turned out just fine, just perfect, really.
Okay. And then this one is called Sugar High. This is one of your favorites.
It is my favorite, I'd say. And it is my favorite, just the way it turned out, and it does have that plasticky, rubbery feel of that old doll's face that we all, not all of us remember, but they're from the 50s and 60s, these dolls, and that's their look, and that just, I love it. It's semi-dark, it's a little bit washed out, it's just right. I like this one a lot.
Very cute. I love the expression, the smiles, and oh my gosh, it's very lifelike.
Yeah, that's not me doing that. That's the doll itself stuck in that pose, but I did get a darker feel than even the doll would give you. So I like it. It's from a long time ago, it feels, or something.
What's cool about all of these pieces is just the large scale that you use when you paint. So anytime you have like a large piece like this, it totally changes the feel of the space. Yeah, they're very, very cool. Well done.
Thanks.
So here we have Snoop Dogg, which I'm sure everybody can recognize.
It's a young Snoop Dogg.
A young Snoop Dogg. And then we have a dog called Blackjack over here. Yeah, I find the Snoop Dogg, the realism is super high realism. I think you really did a good job on these two.
Thank you. Sometimes, yeah, you know, like the other Sugar High one over here that we just went past. I loved it all the way through, and it was fun to do all the way through. And then the other ones, they almost appear at the end of your painting, and that's when they get good. And you struggle with them almost till the end, and then you see them come around, and then you get extremely happy. Well, Snoop Dogg's eyes, I am happy with. And the background in this one, and you don't realize it until the end of the painting, or towards the end of the painting, that it's going to turn out. So that's what these did.
This one again, you just feel the glass of his eyes. And you want to touch his nose. It has a little bit of moist, as Prime Minister Trudeau would say. So these two are, I love both of these two. Frida Kahlo, the Mexican artist, of course, but I just love the pose you got in this piece. Her dress and the smile. Yeah, what inspired you to do Frida? Of course, she's very popular.
The inspiration behind Frida is she's Frida. Her influence is still felt in the art world, in the visual art world. And those are colors she often orange and pink, but it's so turned out this thing. It's so, and you don't bring it to a further realism level or anything. You just leave it where it is. It's just turned out perfect.
It almost reminds me of an old photograph, sometimes, like from a long time ago. So I like that you kept the dress all kind of more monochromatic, and then added the punches of the color.
Another artist and I had a conversation that one time. We have these conversations all the time, but sometimes an artist doesn't know when to stop, and I think I stopped at the right point with this one. So by magically, so I love it too. It just turned out.
And then this one is Bessie. I guess it's like a vintage animal.
Another vintage with the rubber rubber face, and I remember this one as a kid. I think my cousin had it.
So this piece is called The Right to Be Different. I love this piece, it's so mysterious. I love the eye just kind of staring right through you. Yeah, there's a real kind of eeriness or sadness about the piece. Can you tell me a little more about this one?
You're right, there is an eerie sadness about it. It came from partly my imagination and partly some photos I was working from. I'm not sure of the model, her name, mind you. Unlike some of the other things, it turned from practice into a finished piece, and in fact it was so well received tonight. I think it turned out to be everybody's favorite in the room of all the other things. I really think that this was the standard as far as everybody else was concerned. Everybody loved this painting. So the background is from photo dust, or a plane on. Sometimes you'll take pictures and you'll have dusting on your mirror or your lenses, or dust in the air, and that's some of the stuff that can happen. But it's just an effect. People loved it though. People love this painting. So.
So this here is Vincent van Gogh. So while Matt was doing all these airbrush paintings, one day he came home and he says, I'm working on a sculpture. And I'm like, all right. Anyways, this is a wild piece, many little metal pieces. What got you, what turned your direction into sculpture, in particular this piece?
It started with a head inside there, and I knew to build up an armature full of metal, and some of it's been cut out, and this thing can turn so you can see insides and outsides.
You can see the missing Vincent's left ear.
And it's left unfinished now. And can be sold just like this, and it's really one of those pieces again that, where do you stop? Am I done? And is it perfect, or do you think I should continue? It's an interesting piece. I love it. I really do.
Well, here's another sculpture from Matt, Moon River. It's beautiful. It's all these little metal plates, I guess, that Matt, you twisted them all and then welded them together?
Yeah. It was a puzzle.
It was a puzzle.
And it is still a really good looking piece.
So that concludes the virtual tour of the show. That was lots of fun. I hope everyone enjoyed the pieces. They're all available on our website at orangeartgallery.ca. As well, the gallery is open now again from Wednesday to Sunday, 11 to 4 p.m. So they are pieces that you really should see in person to kind of get the large scale feeling of the pieces. Yeah, it's been lots of fun. Any closing comments?
I want to thank everybody that came that night, and come back again and again and again.